Okay, so this right here is the best television I've ever owned. This is an LG OLED G5, and it's also pretty similar to another television by the same brand called C5. There are very few differences that might not be that relevant for some people, but might actually be pretty important for some other people. So let me tell you a little bit more about what my experience is with this TV, and I also own a C5. So you can actually know the difference between both televisions and know which one is the ideal one for you. First of all, a couple of things you need to know about this model. The one I have is 65 inches, and inside the box you only get the television, the remote control, and you get a mounting base towards the wall. You don't get a stand, so you can't put it on a furniture. You need to actually mount it on the wall so you can use it. So do take that into account in case you need to use it the same day you purchase it. You will have to mount it onto the wall if you have a 65-inch model. If you have a lower model than that, I've been seeing around, there is a base where you can put it on the furniture, but I cannot guarantee that. And that might actually vary depending on what country you live or where you're actually from. The operating system on this TV is the same you find on most LG TVs nowadays, and that is WebOS. WebOS has been actually around for quite a bit. An actually interesting fact you might not actually know is that WebOS actually belonged to Palm before it belonged to LG. Palm was actually sold to HP, and LG bought the operating system called WebOS. So WebOS might actually be the very first operating system for smart TVs. I can't guarantee that. I don't even have how to prove it, but I'm practically sure of it. There's not a lot of information out there, but I do know for a fact that WebOS used to be on Palm devices because I used to own one. Now, I have no complaint for WebOS. I think it's okay for most people. It's not the snappiest. It's not perfect either. It has some bloatware when you take it out of the box. It can be slow from time to time. But again, for most people, I think it's okay. If you don't mind waiting a couple of seconds for most of your content, I think you're gonna be okay. But if you're pretty demanding on what you use on your television and you want the fastest thing out there for your smart TV, well, I do think you're going to need an Apple TV. That is the smartest way and the quickest way to make your television a lot snappier. This LG TV also has a new processor. Does it make a lot of a difference towards what you get in other models, like for example, the C5? No, I do think this is pretty similar to what you get on the C5. There are just a couple of differences that are maybe minor for some people, but not necessarily for everybody. For example, the brightness. The peak brightness on this TV is about 50% in some scenarios higher than what you can find on the C5. So that means even if you have a window or you have an open space, most likely this OLED panel will look great and you can still see the difference compared to something like maybe the C5, which doesn't have that much brightness. You can tell, especially when you have auto brightness on or when you're in a very lit environment, like maybe having a full window pointing towards the TV. This looks great during the day. The only place I do not recommend to get an LG OLED panel, and practically any brand that does OLED, is for exteriors. Exteriors might be just a little bit too much to what we have right now on technology, but probably in the future, we will find an OLED panel that will be bright enough to put out on the exterior, and who knows, maybe somebody will finally make one that's weatherproof so we can have like on a terrace or a backyard. That would actually be awesome. Now, another thing I actually noticed on this panel that's also pretty good and better than the C5 is the dynamic range. And you can tell the colors and the contrasts are way better, specifically on Dolby Vision enabled content compared to other televisions, as well as the C5 from LG. So HDR content looks simply stunning on this panel. But on the other hand, if you're only watching SDR content, this might be just way too much. You really don't need it, and it looks practically the same as what you see on a C5. Another thing I think this TV is also better at than other televisions as well as the C5 is at gaming. It does have a native 120 Hertz, which is awesome because that's what you get on PlayStation 5, what you can get on Xbox, and, well, not the Switch, but you know what I mean. But if you have a gaming PC, you can also use variable refresh rate, which it goes up to 160 Hertz, which is a ton. You can't get that out of most consoles or most console games, but if you have a hefty or high premium PC, you will be able to take advantage of this beautiful looking TV to play your games at maybe 160 Hertz, which is great. Something else I do think is a must-have if you're going to purchase this TV, especially for day one so you can get the best experience out of it, is a sound bar or any type of entertainment audio system. Because the audio on it is okay. I mean, if you're maybe in a small room, I think you won't have any issues and you might be using it like that for quite a while. But if you're in something like a medium to large size room, you will definitely need a soundbar because it will make the experience a lot better. You do need a little bit more of a punch due to the thinness of this panel. It's not as thin as maybe a C5, but it is still pretty thin compared to other televisions out there. So just get it a soundbar and you're gonna get practically a great experience out of one of the best panels out there. Now, another thing I would actually change on this TV, and I really don't like on most LG TVs, is the remote control. And I don't mean the system where you have a mouse and you can use it. I don't mind that, I actually use it quite a bit. But I'm talking about them not being rechargeable. For the price this TV has, and actually where it belongs, which is in a premium section, I do believe the remote control should be at the very least rechargeable, so you don't ever have to purchase batteries for it. It's just maybe nitpicking a little bit with it, but I do believe at least the remote should be rechargeable. But what do you guys think? Do you care about that type of thing, or you just slap a couple of AAAs on there and call it a day? Overall, this is the best television I've ever owned. I absolutely love it. But also, I like the C5. I still have it in my gaming room. And the experience on that TV is still great. So, if you're not that much of a power user and not going to be watching the most developed content with HDR, with Dolby Vision, and not even going to be playing new generation games, and don't even care that much about brightness, I do recommend you save quite a few bucks on maybe something like a C5. That television is still awesome. Has practically the same things that this one has, except for those couple of few things I just mentioned previously. But if you do want the very best out of LG, this might be the best option for you. I love it, and if you're interested in purchasing one, I will drop an affiliate link down below. And if you're new around here, maybe subscribe, drop a like, drop a comment. It always helps us out quite a bit. And I will see you in the next video.